23 years old. I have 3 children, nearly all grown up. I've got one who's in Spain, one who's in London, and one who's still at home. I remember being at school and we'd sing hymns, and because my name's Joy, it was a bit irritating because people would always go, "Give me joy," and they'd look at me, and it was kind of like, I really didn't like singing hymns because everybody would like look at me every time Joy was mentioned. It was kind of tedious. So as a child, I really didn't pray. I didn't even think there was a God. I know there's lots of people I know that would pray at night, and I literally did not pray. I had no concept of why would you pray to? There was nothing there, you know. So that's my basis of when I was growing up. My mother, while we were growing up, was always quite, I would say she probably had quite a lot of emotional problems, and she would typically be classed as probably a manic depressive now, and she had several breakdowns when we were younger. As I got older, she ended up having quite severe breakdowns, so much so that she was on a lot of medication, and for a long time she really wasn't there, in the sense of she didn't really engage with people. She didn't really have a bond with her children or grandchildren, and she was quite blank. She didn't have emotions, she didn't cry, she didn't laugh for probably 10-15 years. I mean, she would, but it wasn't like she was really there. But, you know, she got on with life, and, you know, she came to visit us while we were in Honduras. And then soon after that, she was diagnosed with motor neuron disease, which is a very aggressive disease, and it affects your muscles and your ability to talk and swallow and eat, and eventually, you know, you'll lose your ability to speak, and you can't eat, and you eventually can't do anything. Because she'd always been on sort of medication for years, and she'd wanted to come off in the past, but the doctor said no, that would be too dangerous to do, you know, her mental state wouldn't have been good. But she'd been a Christian for a long time, but she'd had these struggles. But she really asked God to heal her of her depression around the same sort of time that she got this diagnosis. So she's facing a very difficult disease. But in the midst of that, it's like...
Sorry.
It's like God had answered those prayers. Because she herself decided she didn't need all that medication. And the doctor said, no, you're right, you don't need it. You can come off it. When we came to visit, she was so engaged. Like all the family who had known her since she was obviously, you know, a child, they said, this is who she really is. This is who we remember her as, you know. And I didn't actually know that person, because for the longest time she had never been that engaged. You know, life was just very challenging for her. And she also had lost a lot of her memory because of the treatment she's had. She actually couldn't remember things. She used to be a very, very clever secretary, a florist. She spoke French, she wrote French. But for years she couldn't do any of that. But despite her illness, her mental and emotional state, it's like God healed her, because then she could do all her French, she could do shorthand, she was engaged, she was laughing, she would get, you know, just really find life enjoyable despite everything that was going on. So although it looked like God didn't heal her physically, He healed her of the things that she'd always struggled with. I would say prayer is a two-way thing, and, you know, if you don't know how to pray, then just be honest. You know, if God really is there, then He will answer. And so go at it as if He is there. I mean, you could pray something like, I don't know if you're there or not, God. You know, make yourself real. Or, I really need help in this situation. Help. You know, it's not complicated.